Alrighty, if you just tuned in, we're live here in the Huddle headquarters. Simon Nunan to our left, Jeff Pistola, yours truly will be panelling, so yeah, get involved. Okay. Alrighty, sorry for the abrupt ending there, but we're going to get straight into our special guest now, Pistols. We head towards 6:36. All good there, Noons, with the volume?
Yeah, I think we're right, mate.
Alright, terrific. Pistols, introduction.
Well, when you think of the course of the past decade, our various sporting media ventures, Benny, with you and I have had the pleasure of interviewing our next guest, certainly major milestones, male medal wins, premiership wins, game milestones, 200, 250, 300, 350, and now he's bobbed up again, this time incredible 400th game, and very indeed wonderful to be joined once again, Merebark and Hills football legend Simon Nunan. Good to see you, Squiz. Thanks for giving us the time, mate.
No problems at all, boys. Thanks for having me.
Squiz, I'll just get you to slightly just move the microphone. It's just Rob style.
Click,
There
click.
you go.
Nah, should be right. Yeah, no dramas.
Now, Phil, mate, another outstanding achievement on your career.
Yeah, well, unfortunately we lost the game, but apart from that, it was.
Oh, no, your achievement, but
yeah, but no, it was a special day. Probably not something you plan that you're going to play 400 games of footy.
yeah, wow.
But it's come along, and yeah, the club hyped it up a bit, and yeah, it's a good day.
As I said, Simon, well, 300, maybe the 350, and saying, oh, yeah, but, you know, maybe that's it. But here we are, 50 again.
Yeah, well,
So we go to the next slide, 50.
I don't think there's going to be another 50, that's for sure. But
Well, I suppose I've got to ask you the question. How long? As long as you're enjoying it, as long as the body's still right, and you
Well,
obviously
and
still look pretty
you
good.
only make that many games if you enjoy playing footy, don't you? So,
Yeah. But the body's looking all right.
I've
I've seen a bit of modelling that you're doing down there at work locker, you know, getting the shirt off.
Yeah, get the Ugg boots out. But no, the body does feel all right. The biggest challenge is mentally to be able to play a whole season of football when you've got kids running around that you want to watch and the grind of through the week to recover and those sort of things. But I love the game day, so that's the hardest thing to give up, and we'll assess that at the end of the year. But it's looking like it could be the last.
Ah, well, how to exclude? No, you never say never again. Someone tell you that?
I've heard that. Yeah.
Yeah. You'd love it too much, wouldn't you?
The game day part and the change rooms and your mates that's going to be.
What about coaching, Noons? I mean, like
senior coaching?
Yeah.
Thought about it a few years ago.
Yes.
And then perhaps just put it on the back burner as my kids have got a bit older and I've got entrenched into their footy. I'm not going to rule it out. It's probably not on the top of the list just at the moment though.
Yeah.
So you've done your Colts coaching and been quite successful. A couple of junior Colts flags, am I right there? You're doing under 12s.
Doing under 12s this year with Dave Murph.
Yeah.
So we're in control of the
So
12s.
you're still keeping your hand in the coaching sort of thing.
Yeah,
aren't you?
and did the under 14s for 4 years previously, and yeah, we managed to get 3 premierships out of that. So we had a good group, and
What do you enjoy about the coaching aspect with the kids? Seeing their
I
development?
think it's the development from the first training to the end of the season, and yes, the football development, but the personal development in some of them. You can't underestimate how much footy impacts the kids' lives, and,
Sure.
and you like to be part of that, then that's pretty cool.
So,
Sorry, Noons, just Rob's, just get you there slightly. Yep.
There we go, this.
It's getting it. And just, yep, we're perfect.
Perfect.
Oh, actually, Pistols, I'll get you to move your
Yeah,
voice around. I'll just turn it.
bit of crackling. Come a bit of togetherness here.
And just put that leader down. The blue one.
And down.
That's perfect. We'll just
So,
get right in there.
With,
right, yeah.
with the coaching side of things, Simon, who do you draw on as the influences and experiences that you had under a particular coach?
Not one in particular.
That role model.
Yeah, so I've had a heap of coaches.
Well, just give us an idea.
Well, you look at someone like Malcolm Williams, who was my first A grade coach, and he was someone that was just so Hills passionate, and he just felt like he knew every player and every team that you were going to play against, and he had a way of sort of revving you up, and you just knew his passion. Then someone like Steve Geyer, who I won a premiership with, was way more laid back, but just a really good thinker of football. Steve Samuels was probably the most prepared coach that I've ever seen, perhaps over-prepared. I don't think you'll mind me saying that. He had plan A, B, C, D, F and G. And,
well, it worked for a premiership.
We got a premiership with Steve, yep. And he was, his work ethic that he did off the footy field to make sure the team was right and make sure he was right was something that I look at. But then you've just got, I can just remember things that I liked or didn't like about coaches either as a junior or as a senior player. And you just, if you don't like something, well, as a coach now, I try not to do that.
It sticks in your mind.
Yeah.
Some of those experiences, as we know, you played 17s, 19s down at Sturt. Any stick in your mind down there?
Probably not in particular games or seasons. It was only a 3-year period, but it was an important period. Like it was a lot of fun, and I went to school at Glenunga, so I was already in Adelaide, so it made sense to be playing down there. A whole new circle of friends, so that was the biggest thing I got from it, other than the standard footy. Challenged myself and did it right for 3 years, and then you return up home, hopefully a better player.
Yeah, did you originally play at Onkers? Is that right, or was there family involvement at
Yeah.
Onkers?
Yeah, my grandpa built their change rooms.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so, and he's a life member there, and I think 2 out of my 3 uncles are life members at Onkers, and my dad played at Onkers, and I played there until I was in under 14s, and then we lived in Mount Barker, and my brother and I moved across in 1994 to play some junior golfs.
Now, Barkeroos, because obviously you've been part of the Furge there forever, mate. Last year, we're trying to work out, you might know this, you've got this story, the last time Mount Barker finished bottom, someone told me 1973.
I can't remember
you were born.
I can't ever remember Mount Barker finishing bottom.
Yeah.
So that was a first in my period.
Yeah.
I think they had a few years where they struggled, but maybe not quite the spoon.
Yeah. But having said that, this year, mass improvement. They're certainly up there at the moment. I know this week's a big game for them for the double chance, but certainly playing, for a while. Andrew Bruce, what sort of coach is he?
So Andrew, this is his second stint at Mount Barker. The first stint was, I think, 2006, 7-ish, around there. And he was sort of, maybe just came back from Meadows.
Yes.
Yeah, so a raw coach in a certain way, and was pretty emotional, and then now after his stint at various SNFL clubs, he's a lot more measured, and he's got a game plan, and he's pretty strong with his game plan, and you can tell that he's got a lot of experience under his belt, and the side's obviously listening because it's bottom to third at the moment. So that's not just personnel, that's obviously some sort of growth.
I'll tell you, we had the pleasure of seeing him a couple of times, and particularly the game against Blakewood. They were absolutely sensational out at the Summit.
I think the Summit, although the weekend's result didn't reflect that, the Summit suits the style that Andrew's pushing onto the boys. It's a wide open oval, so they want to move the ball pretty quick where they can.
How do you find it? Because out of those 400 games, the majority would have played at Howard Lane.
At Hanson.
Yeah.
I would have enjoyed playing a lot of my senior footy at the Summit, I think, having now played it as a 40-year-old there, where I don't want to be running around. But it would have been nice to have played there when I was younger. I think the spaces would have been cool.
Now, versatility, mate, was one of the greatest traits. It still is. Where did you prefer, really? Forward or back? Just where side needs you?
I've always felt more comfortable as a defender, but everyone likes playing in the midfield, everyone likes kicking goals, so they're probably more fun positions to play.
Yep.
But I've probably always felt more natural in defence.
Yeah. Why is it the ball coming to
you? You've got the ability to read it. You're not relying on a teammate kicking it exactly where you want it, I suppose. You can read the ball, and no forward likes chasing, so if I do happen to go for a bit of a run somewhere, then I know it's not that he wants to do.
I think one of the great traits of yourself, you love the game, as you said, was, you obviously, perhaps, well, was it your decision to say, I don't want to be up for A-grade selection?
A little bit. I mean, I think I did. I missed
Yeah.
the first final we played in 2019. I think that was my last 2019 was last year.
Yep.
And I didn't get selected for the first final.
Right.
And then got selected after that. And while I felt like I was good enough to play an A-grade role, I couldn't do it at the standard that I wanted to.
Yep.
The mind knows what's happening, but the body couldn't keep up with the fresh young legs that is A-grade football now.
So it's great, and it's one of your traits, as I said, to go back and help the young guys come through by playing in the B grade. And let's face it, you're playing next to a bloke who's played 400 games at footy, just your advisory on the ground, and you find yourself doing that, telling guys where to run, and the younger blokes.
It's one of the hardest, as a coach and a player, it's one of the hardest skills to teach anybody, and that's how to talk. And that's something that's probably always come pretty naturally for me on the footy field, to talk. But we always talk when we're under the pump in the B grade side this year. It's like, why aren't we talking? Why aren't we talking? Come on, we've got to be talking. So yeah, if I can play that part, then that's cool. But it's twofold. It's helping out with the young guys, but also there's a few guys that I've played A grade football with in the past that are still playing senior footy, and Simon Williams and Tyson Scott, and so
there being Shane Ettridge.
Yep.
Shane Ettridge.
He brought a milestone up a couple of weeks ago.
The slowest 150 games in club history. Good work, Shane.
Hey, you have had some coaching success, obviously with the juniors. You thoroughly enjoy that. Just when did you want to get into? How long now have you been involved in junior coaching?
I actually coached under 17s. It was then in 2002 and 2003. One of those
at
years,
the Roos.
At the Roos. Yeah. One of those seasons was with Bots, Wilhelm. So I did that for a couple of years. Then we got a premiership and made a grand final, so we lost 1-1. And then I think I did another 3-year stint of the under 17s, maybe around 15, 16, somewhere around there. Couple more grand finals, 2 1-point losses to Hahndorf. And that group was cool because I ended up playing A-grade football with probably 7 or 8 of those guys. So that was a bit of a buzz for me. Probably not so much for them, but for me it was. And then Jay, my older lad Jay, played 4 seasons of under 14s, and so I thought I may as well give that a go, and we had a good run there. So that's been the most recent.
And then last year you stepped down to the reserves, and because our live stream, and that's actually one of the what do we have? 270,000 views.
Views now.
Yeah, the sorry to bring this up again, but the grand final result, last kick, and
Kick after the siren.
Yeah, and everyone's getting around Sam Hill, and just see you in the corner of the screen, just as he's about to kick it.
I think you knew as soon as you took the mark.
And you can think about it all the time.
That's the ups and downs of footy.
It is, and some things are controllable and some things aren't. In a windy, slightly wet day and a ball smashed forward. Like, we didn't do anything wrong as Mount Barker.
No.
Hahndorf didn't do anything wrong or right, and the ball just went that way at that period of time. Like, there was other things during the game that you could probably change, but that kick that landed in Sam's hands, well, good on him and well done Hahndorf, but sometimes that's just the way it goes.
Just gutting.
Yeah, and
for Mount Barker.
I've never been leading in a grand final and not won after the siren. That's ridiculous, isn't it? But that's footy, and I think that's probably why we love it so much. And that result, in fairness, is probably the reason I played another season. Just because we thought it would be nice to see if we're actually a premiership chance.
How are the boys going this year?
I think we're 5th or 6th at the moment. It's pretty congested in the 2s. So we've got a bit of a stitch up. Hahndorf are a bit better than everyone at the moment.
And lost the game,
so we've got a bit to do to catch them. But in terms of making finals, and that's all you got to do, just make finals. I think we're around the mark, but we've just got to string a few together.
On the same day, though, you did coach the premiership.
So that was
the mini golf.
Yeah, the under-14s. And that was an undefeated year for them last year, so they were all pretty happy to see that.
Huddle reformed here on 88.9 FM. We've been joined by Simon Nunan, who last week played an amazing 400th game of footy. You've been it'd be a great person to ask this, Simon, because of the longevity of your career. The standard of Hills footy, it's certainly, I like to think that it's getting better and better all the time. And
Yeah,
obviously,
100%.
as a man who's been out there,
Yeah, no, it's. I think we've always had top quality players, but the depth is really, like, teams are deep now. So you look at Huddle, who are on top and have been in both grades for a number of years, and Lobethal this year, and that's where you've got to be. You can't be 20 players strong. You've got to be 35 strong, and that's where the good teams are and the good clubs are. Yeah, we're pretty accessible now in the Hills, aren't we? Like, we're only 15 minutes from the centre of Adelaide.
Actually, I said this to someone, and when I thought about it, it might sound a bit strange, but since the tunnels have opened up, as you said, made more
Yeah, perhaps that's
accessible.
right.
People don't want to drive through the fog back in the old days,
Yeah,
through the Egorda Hill, and now, bang.
and there's so many people that work in town and used to live in town, and they're moving up here now just because of accommodation and lifestyle.
Well,
So,
especially at Mount Barker, mate.
yeah, it's expanding quickly, isn't it?
Yeah, they all got to come in and buy their workwear, don't they?
Work locker, yeah, get in there.
Give it a go. Yeah.
I was going to say, just on that, because you were for years almost did 400 games, I reckon, down at Woolworths, down there at Monado, and then just the whole thing closing, that must have been a
It
bit of a
did,
shock,
yeah.
eh?
So that's been about 14 months now.
That long, yeah.
Yeah, about 14 months. We knew
Yeah.
a couple of years before that, but yeah, a bit of a surprise and disappointing for that area, because there's a lot of Mount Barker and Murray Bridge
Sure.
employees. I think there's about 150 of them that were full time, and disappointing for them because it's a local workplace.
Yeah, and because Work Locker were looking for someone to run
Any
down
chance?
their
Yeah.
modelling campaign, mate. So
I don't know if that was what they employed me for, but
what's your forte, mate? Your Ugg boots or work boots or the beanies or?
no, I'm just in the production side, mate. I'm out the back, and
Really?
I'm out the back, and then what you see on social media is just trying to get the
So
work
what?
locker out.
You actually sew stuff in there, do you?
No, well, I'm
Understood.
on the heat presses and
Yeah.
on sewing's not my forte, but
How you found that, mate?
it's been a good
Good
change.
job, yeah.
It's a good change.
Yeah, it'd be
work-
interesting.
There's a good group of people to work with, and Andrew Bailey is in charge there, and
Okay, yeah.
I've known him through our boys have gone to school together,
I can see.
and we've played football against each other a couple of times, but we played basketball together actually. So
I can see where this is leading. Super Rules for you, for the Super Tigers, huh?
He's been nagging a little bit, Bales.
Yes.
So I won't rule that out. You don't retire from football completely.
No, of course
you
not.
just stop playing at a certain level, don't you?
Hey, Nunes, you obviously had a lot of success with juniors. If you were sort of in charge or overseeing the Hills Football League in terms of the junior competition, what sorts of things have captured your attention? Or
It's tricky, isn't it? Especially some of the clubs that don't have the numbers. I'm not sure what the answer is about attracting numbers. The easy thing would be to say clubs have got to combine together and merge, but nobody wants to.
Did that change of age groups, Simon? Were they effectively brought in?
Maybe it did. If you think, maybe they chucked an extra one in there, didn't they? So there's probably a whole heap of reasons why it's happening. It's probably not one or two. It's probably collectively more than that. But we've got to. I think it's important that the juniors in the Hills football, and this is something that could change because there's always talk about it. The juniors part of Hills football is important, and so if all of a sudden we separate that and play it on a Sunday, for example, I think that's going to hurt Hills football as a whole. That's just my opinion. I like the fact that you get a full day of football.
Yeah.
And whether it be under 14s to A grade or various grades, I'm not sure, but the full day of footy is important for Hills. And there's little things like the number of players on the ground, which you can perhaps look at. I know some of the countrysides and KI and stuff like that, they have maybe 15 aside. I don't know all the answers, mate, but it's important.
Well, if you're going to talk to young Simon Nunan right now, why did he want to start playing like that?
Why did I want to start playing footy?
What captured your attention, and what in the Hills Football League? Like, why did you want to
Well, I grew up in Mount Barker, so I was always I knew what the Hills feel was, and I knew what it felt like to play at country football. But I suppose when I did that 3-year stint in Adelaide, and while I was still living in Mount Barker, it is a different feel. It's not the same. It's suburban, And I think I don't know the answers, mate. It's just there's something about country football.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's something about country football. It's a family community sort of event. It's not even just something you do. It's an event. It's something that you should be drawn to. And yeah, the town's huge now, so we're going to have trouble, and we're going to have trouble keeping everybody in one place. I understand that, and it's easy to nick off 15 minutes down the road and play for another club. So just keeping that community vibe, I think, yeah, maybe that's got to.
But also, it's a different culture from when you grew up as a kid, as you're just saying, playing, and you've probably experienced this in your own coaching sort of situation over the last few years as kids, like trying to get them out to play footy, but they'd rather sit and play.
There's a lot of distractions.
You know what I mean?
There's perhaps more distractions, and technology's got a fair bit to do with that. Accessibility to everything.
Has the junior numbers at Mount Barker stayed?
I think we've
dropped off.
I'm not sure they've dropped off too much, but they've plateaued for the last couple.
Because for a while there,
we had
you could have fielded every age group.
Yeah, every age group twice.
Yeah.
And this year, no, we've probably got. I think we've got a couple under 8 teams, but then it's just 2 under 14 teams, and I think that group's probably the largest.
Yes.
But for the first time in a little while, the Mount Barker 18s are full.
Yeah.
And I know that's a bit of a problem
area
around the hills, that age group.
Well, who were your sort of heroes growing up then when you're playing juniors for the Roos and stuff like that?
Who did I like watching play?
Yeah, and that sort of stuff.
There was a fella named Matthew Digdon. I don't know if you remember Matty Diggers.
Yep.
And he was my room minder. So he was assigned to me as an A-grade player when I was maybe 12 or 13 years old, and he was supposed to introduce himself and look out for me and say g'day and stuff like that. And not every A-grader did that. Sometimes there was another guy who named Anthony Smith, and he doesn't even know who I am today. But Diggers was terrific, and I remember him speaking to me a few times, and I liked.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, and that's why I make the effort to do that now with the kids.
So it was like a buddy system.
Yeah, a bit like a buddy system, but at Mount Barker, obviously we call it like a reminder system.
Is it still in play?
It's happened a fair bit, and then now we do
great.
it more so where the A graders get assigned to a team.
Yeah, right.
So like Mally and Phoenix Lions, for example, will go and help out the under-11s with Clint Rogers on a Wednesday night. So A graders are now being assigned to a team, and rather than individual players, which is a bit trickier.
Now I've got to ask you, I suppose the elephant in the room, the Summit Sports Centre, when you think about Barker, and you mentioned Hanson Oval, Hand Lane, traditional home, and now you've had to pull up stumps and go out there. And I've had a few reunions out there already in the last 2 years. It just doesn't have that feel of home. I know it may well come, but...
it's a work in progress.
Yes.
It's a work in progress. I don't think you can ever just pick up and find that history. Like, you're not going to be able to do that. But the ground feels like home. Like the playing surface. The playing surface feels like home. We've played enough games, and the knowledge that we're going to continue to play there.
Except when you're 40 years old.
Yeah, we know that that's happening, and so we feel comfortable playing our games there. The off-field stuff, which is your history, that's going to take a little bit of work, and some of that's going to be tough and challenging because it's not ours. Like, the Oval's not ours, and we lease it, so we can't put it on a board up, for example.
Yes, I noticed.
And everything we put in there is being taken out 6 months later.
So when at the end of the footy season, that's what it come there because the Eastern Hills Cricket take it over.
Yeah, the cricket take it over for their 6 months,
Wow.
and then we take it over again 6 months later. So there's actually entrenching yourself in there with that club history and looking into it, club rooms and seeing photos and banners and honour boards. That's going to be tricky, but it'll come. It'll come.
Of course.
Yeah, it'll come.
So that'd have to come with the fact Mount Barker become the full tenants of it.
Yeah. Well, it's not something that I've got a lot of control of, and I leave that for those who are better equipped to ration that out. But our footy club's done a pretty good job of getting games out there and getting it to where it is now, because there's been some challenges, as I said. So Scott Filmer and his committee have done an excellent job. And look, it's a fantastic oval. I hope we've got finals scheduled there this year, because it's there's no better surface in the hills.
Oh, agree.
And I think imagining thousands of people around the hill area and in the grandstand, and that would be a pretty good spectacle, I reckon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, see we got you here, mate, and we're talking
Well,
about...
he's a two-time
I was going to say,
tipping
Oh.
champion.
I was going to rattle off all the bar medals and premierships and
Yeah,
whatever.
make sure you add the
We have
two-time
an-
HFL tips leader.
Tipping
And
juniors.
he's holding on at the moment.
Actually, we'll just run through this. 2 A-grade male medals.
Yep.
There's one of those stand out, 05, 08. One that you feel...
08 was a strong year.
Yep. 1 B-grade male medal last year.
Yep.
Yep, well done. 6 A-grade best and fairest. Is that the club record? The Murphy medal?
Yeah, that's the
It must be
that's
great
the
to
current
have.
record.
Must be great to have actually the Murphy medal, knowing how close you are to the Murphys
Yeah,
and
so the
honouring the great
5 of
man.
those were Murphy medals, and
Yep.
the
one
other
was
one
before
was
that.
the last one before we renamed it. Yep.
Okay, 1 B-grade best and fairest, 1 A-grade best and fairest on the ground. And what grand final victory was that?
That was 2004 against Blackwood.
Yep. And of course the B-grade one last year. Anzac Day medal.
Yeah, that must have been early 2000s, I reckon.
Yeah, 6 years A-grade
Yeah, that's a
captain.
typo. It's actually 8. But
8 years.
We'll go with 6.
8.
We'll go with 6.
It's Mount Barker life member and Hills Football League player life member. So as we said, Squiz, your decorated career, it's been something great.
And 2-time tips leader.
And 2 times, he's more happy about
Yeah,
that.
let's get amongst that.
Well, let's see if he can
Against good opposition as well. Yeah.
Tell me about this bloke. So obviously you played a bit about Parker, but you did have the chance to actually play with Big Windsor, Chad, in Red
Yeah,
Gates.
so Chad in the interleague.
Yeah.
There are only times that we got to play with each other. I was just thinking, there's a lot of games between us three, isn't there?
1,000 plus.
Well,
Is that right?
Yeah.
It would be.
There's a lot of games.
And just quickly, interleague footy, I think you've told us in the past you really looked forward to playing. That was just such a great
Yeah,
concept.
it was. I reckon I did about 5 or 6 years in a row from probably when I was about 20 to say 25 years old.
Yep.
I think that's probably the target area. Like they're the guys that you want to play at. Like the head your, first year out of Colts through to your mid-20s. If you're going to pump up the HFL interleague, that's the age group to get up.
All right, we'll get into tips and you'll be looking to improve because, 5 last week, mate, that's pretty ordinary.
Let's stitch up on a couple.
We got a country division first. Meadows taking on Birdwood. Of course, Meadows getting a bit of a trouncing there, Goldie, and Birdwood just keeping their finals hopes alive. A good win over Kersbrook. So they go to the kennel this week and they win the Roosters.
No, I'm going to give Meadows. I'll give him another chance. So I saw Tomo
Yeah.
on Saturday night,
Oh, yeah.
and he stitched me up because he didn't tell me that like 6 of their best players weren't playing last week,
Including him.
including himself.
Yeah.
And so I'm gathering they're all going to be back. So I'll go with the Dogs.
Yeah, just right. Tomo, how was he at the sponsors' breakfast? I think he was the MC.
Yeah, he does a
Big
good job
Rocky
with
up
that.
there. He does all right.
Yeah, he does a good job. He had Rockcliffe up there this year.
Yeah.
So not sure how he swung in to sit next to Rocky and
Nah,
Fergs and those cats, but he does a good job.
he's a lift.
Well done, Hawk.
Birdwood, you think? I think Meadows, as you said, if they have all the personal back there.
Yeah, I think Meadows, but Birdwood, there or thereabouts, around the mark.
Yeah, the Frog will be happy. Mackie hosting Gummaraka. Well, Gummaraka going gangbusters. Actually, funny, the 2 losses Gummaraka have had this year have been against the bottom 2 sides in Kersbrook and Torrens Valley. So they go down to Mackie. The Bloods are competitive. But
Gum are going to win.
of course, one of your past teammates, Benny Hanna, going all right.
Premiership teammate.
Premiership teammate, and he's still going well. That's what the word is. That's what Tomo told me that. He goes, Digger carved us up.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Tomo won right. Ironbank hosting Torrens Valley. Gee, Torrens Valley just the one behind last week, and Ironbank at home, I think.
Yeah, I
Too
think.
strong.
Yep.
And Kersbrook, the Battle of the Blues, Goldie, the longest road trip in Hills Country Division. Kangaroo journey up to Kersbrook.
Yeah, Kenki have been going all right.
Yeah, sitting on top of the ladder.
Yeah, so we'll go with them.
Yeah, okay. All right, Division 1, Onka Valley, your old club. Now, Chunga going very well.
Yeah, they're a bit of a...
In fact, I think, what have they won now? 4 in a row?
Something like that, yeah.
So quite
Oh,
interesting.
no, they haven't. They lost a couple.
That's
but they,
3 in a row, mate.
Yeah, they're going
But
right.
interesting, Simon. 3 sides sitting on 5 wins, so that top 5's going to go down to the
It's
bottom.
tight, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very tight. The Chunga, what was it? 3 wins in a row. So.
Yeah.
They dropped a couple before the last
yeah.
one.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
But they've been going all right.
They've been going all right. We'll go with them.
Yeah. Young Onker's side, but you think of Chunga better.
Junk up for me, yep.
Lofty playing Nan Bremer, Battle of the Stripes over there at Arkabar Oval in Heathfield. So, yes.
Yeah, Mount Lofty at home.
Yeah, it's a bit tough one.
Oh, I don't know. Lofty, they lose the games they should win. Like, you would have thought the Raiders, they would have beaten the Raiders.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. This is another Liam side.
Toss of the coin drop. I'll go Lofty just.
I like Nan Bremer last week. I
Yeah.
tell you that we've seen them 2 quarters, 3 quarters. I reckon Nan Rams.
You split
Like
it.
to play Morgan's got them going nicely. Blackwood hosting the Raiders.
Where have we got that at?
That's over at Windy Hill, one of your favourite
they're
rounds.
due, they're due, Blackwood, aren't they? They're due for a win. They've lost about 2 or 3 in a row, surely.
I think 4 in a row.
Wow.
Yeah.
The last win was against Huddle.
How long's it?
Blackwood.
So
Yeah,
when's
it's the last.
When's the last time they lost 4 games in a row?
Well, yeah.
Oh, no, they're due for a win. We'll go with Blackwood.
I'll go Blackwood Pistols. I'll give them another chance at home. against the
Yeah,
Raiders.
only because it's at home.
Yep.
Now,
Gotta win this.
Courier Cup final.
Mm.
Top place perhaps up for grabs too, minor premiership. Arndorf facing Loberthorpe.
And that's at Harndorf, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was going to tip Loberthorpe, but given that it's at Harndorf, I'll go with the home team.
This is going to be a cracker goal. This really is a toss of the coin job. 8 points last time, I think, a night game over at Lobie.
No Luke Roberts, I don't think, because he's still overseas.
Yeah, just seeing the big there. Geez, Harndorf and Harndorf are tough. When's the last time they lost a game there? That's a Joe and J.
JJ Hill. I've
Uh,
got no idea when they last lost at home.
yeah.
7 years ago.
Just to make it competitive, I'll go for the Tigers.
All right.
Just.
All right, I'll go Huddle just then.
Of course you would.
Yeah, nice.
And the big game for 3rd spot, Uradler hosting Mount Barker. Not a very good record over there
No,
past, is it?
no, we haven't. But we did. The
Beat them earlier in the
We
year.
beat them early in the year, and it was pretty convincing. So I'm going to go with the Roos on the rebound. They'll have to play well, and we'll have to get a couple of players back through the week, I think, to strengthen our chances. But I reckon we gutsed out a win there last year, even though we weren't that flash. I reckon we beat them last year. So I'll go with that one. Go the Roos.
Yeah, I'll go.
A toss of the coin.
I think a couple of your other players are coming back after the break. So I'll go the Roos to bounce
Yeah, we'll
back.
go for the Roos because you're on here.
Yeah, cheers, boys.
They need to win. So, so there you go.
I'll just check the feed. 1 sec.
All the winners. So basically, modified program for you, mate.
Yeah, I don't do the.
I know you love keeping yourself fit, but
I don't do the Tuesday. I'm a Thursday operator. So
Yep.
Yeah, I'll always stay active. I like all those things. And,
Yeah.
We'll keep plugging along this year and
See how we go.
hopefully we can play some finals.
Hey, and the 2 lads, just still see 2 boys going right. I think.
Yeah, so
Couple of states or
Jay's 15 and he's playing 16s at Mount Barker and he's also in the 16 squad for Sturt. So he's played, I think, 4 games now in Adelaide and the rest of the season at Mount Barker. So he's finding his way there, and that's a full season now, the under-16s in the SNFL. So that's good for him. And Jesse is under-12s and he plays on the Friday nights with under me. And he also made the state side, which plays at the start of August. So that'd be an exciting opportunity for him.
So most under 12 games are played Friday nights?
Yeah, we've got there's 6 teams in the
Yep.
12s comp and they're all on a Friday night.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know you're an honest man, you give a forthright opinion. We just want to know, one of our good friends here used to tell us he was the key man when he come to Mount Barker and was part of the dual premierships. Of course, talking about he's now there involved at Sturt, under 18s assistant coach. He reckons they're doing really well on him. Just Lackers, can you just tell us a bit about
Lackers was a key cog in our back-to-backs, on-field and off-field.
There we go.
He's one of the most talented players that was for a long time trapped in a non-athletic body. But he coached well, so he's got a great footy mind. He's a terrific lad, Lackers.
Yeah.
And I've spoken to him a few times about what he's doing in Adelaide, and he's a pretty casual fella, so he's pretty laid back with it all.
All right, maybe just honing his skill, Goldie. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him back in the Hills Football League in a coaching capacity somewhere.
He's got a bit to offer wherever he goes. Like
Yeah.
So he's a good egg.
Hey, Noons, I think we've mentioned it previously, but your toughest opponents or your most respected opponents, however you want to word it, anyone,
It's probably
or someone you enjoy coming up against, that sort of stuff.
For about 10 or 12 years, I reckon Uradla were the team to beat, and so there was, along with Pucker, there was Loeffler and the Eberts and Big Trav Oakley, who had a few good tussles with, and it was always a challenge to play against all those guys, whether it be forward, back or mid. Actually, I remember my first couple of challenging games against Harndorf in the early 2000s was Daniel Waters, and Big Shane Grimm. So playing on Grimmy, he's a mountain. And,
he's a big man.
And Daniel was a leading goal kicker. So Brad Birch.
Yeah.
Give the old fellow a plug there.
Still going around.
Around and
actually play Lofty in a couple of weeks. Probably have the 80-year-old.
Well, I don't think he's a full-time B grader yet, so he might be picked in the ones. A guy that sprung to mind the other day when I was asked this was Shane Russell.
Oh, Rusty, yes.
Yeah, from Flashback.
Yeah.
I remember, geez, he could catch a footy.
Yeah.
But there's stacks of guys that you play against, and I think sometimes you just get entrenched to maybe some teams that just, so it was always Uradla, we've got to beat
Uradla. Of course,
you wanted the flag, got to beat Uradla. Now it'd be all the Harndorf guys. And so I was pretty lucky, got to play all over the field, and so I got to play against everybody. So
you feel pretty blessed over your time. You've played some great Mount Market sides. Is there one particular side? I know it's home all those flags that you play. Is there one particular side you'd back it in as the best one you've been
I think there's probably two answers. There's probably the 2012 Premiership side was a fantastic side. Like we gelled together well, and yes, we had some talent, but we were honed in from the first pre-season, and that was Steve Samuel's first year, and it was a talented side, but as I said, I think we were a super team. I think we only dropped the one game that year. In terms of just pure talent, I think it was 2004. Yep. And that back to back, that was we could have had a bad quarter and it didn't matter. Like, we're pretty.
I mean, you're a big game performer. Is there any standouts pre-game of coaches' messages during premiership wins? Do you remember how you felt on those days?
Probably just my own expectations on myself, mate. I knew that I had to play well which would help Mount Barker be competitive.
How did you prepare for those games? Like,
the same way as always. It's a bigger game, but you don't change anything. So Albie Lewis was pretty good at getting you revved up. Can't always remember what he said, but he just said it passionately, and he was pretty good with getting you motivated. So
I don't want to bring up disappointments, as you said, there's last year's grand final when the reserves was, but at Albie Lewis grand final, that was disappointing.
Well, that was
2010, yeah. Oh well, we just got that played, didn't we? So obviously disappointing. It's tough to go undefeated.
Absolutely.
You put a lot of pressure on yourself, and disappointing. But as I said, you can't. It's just footy, isn't it?
As Benny mentioned over your journey, do you have a set routine on match day? What you eat or what you wear? You haven't got any Daniel Roberts chops that just don't fall apart?
There's probably 100 things that I do every Saturday morning that before the game and leading up that I don't pay any attention to and just do it.
Yeah.
But no, I nowadays it's get to the footy pretty early because the boys are playing.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
No, just getting myself ready now, and it's a bit more laid back than it used to. And I'm not a captain of the side or anything, so I sort of just let the captains use their voice, and I'm not trying to rev up too many guys.
And as far as motivation yourself, you used to sit in the corner by yourself, and
Nah.
while the others have got the ghetto blaster.
I've never been a headphones on operator. Never been that type of guy.
Yeah.
No, motivation's pretty easy. You just want to win, don't you?
Yeah, well, that's right.
And that's all you want to do. You want to play your best. You want to win. You want to have a good time. Like that. I was just saying to Simon Williams and Shane Ettridge that there's nothing better than that winning beer in the change rooms afterwards.
Yeah.
And if there's a reason to keep playing footy, it's just that.
Sure.
Like, you've just battled on the field, you've come off, you've got a West End 10, and you're just going, Jesus, is delicious.
Yeah, I might have another.
Yeah, exactly right.
Hey, it must have been great for you, not that you haven't done it before, but on Saturday, the 400 to go out and get the the guard of honour and everything, and it must have been a special moment for you.
As the footy club did really well, and I didn't know too much about what was going on, and I just said, look, no balloons and banners. We don't need to carry on too much. And a lot of the young kids, and some of them were holding up little Noon's face masks, and just an ugly head to get a mask. But and Huddle come over and part of the way off, and it was all pretty good. I had some family come over from interstate, and everyone got up and we had a meal afterwards, and there was a little video tribute later on in the evening with some messages, and I think above all there was just so many messages. I had 100+ messages from ex-players, ex-teammates, ex-opposition, just supporters, and I think in some ways I think the supporters around the footy club were more excited about it than I was, so they celebrated it well, and I'm pretty lucky to be involved.
Nah, mate, when you look back on it, it's a fantastic achievement. Hey, when you look back and obviously all the photos of the various milestones, it's almost like the family album, like you're carrying the kids with the babies. And
I'm pretty happy I can't.
You know what I mean?
I can't pick
now
it up.
They probably drive you to the ground when you play your 500.
No, there's some good memories in those photos. I'm glad that we can keep them.
Nah, mate, it's been a great career to look back, and who knows, when you actually do hang up the boots with it, mate, you'll be able to look back and say, I've had a pretty good career. And,
I've had a lucky career. You've got to be pretty lucky.
You had said injuries. I know you had that elbow, but
so it was only on Saturday night. And
well, how many games have you actually missed through injury?
Maybe a dozen.
Yeah,
maybe a dozen, and that's part of the thing you got to be lucky with. And I was only saying I had my arm. It was not my elbow.
Sorry.
So, my arm. So that was November in 1999. So I'd only played 2 A-grade games, and then had the car accident. And so, as I said on Saturday night, it's probably 398 bonus games because it was a significant crash.
Yeah.
So you got to be lucky with injury. This is the first time this year that I've missed consecutive games through injury. So
wow.
It's incredibly lucky. Probably a bit stupid on sometimes. You're playing when you're a bit hurt, but that's what we do. You got to be lucky to have some support around you, and the footy club and my family and friends are all very supportive, and they allow me to do it. And
I was going to say the support from your family must be fantastic.
Yeah, and I remember saying to my wife Caroline that I wanted to keep playing so my boys could see me play at least a few seasons, and that's probably stretched on a bit long now, but at least they've got a bit of an idea of that you can play footy.
Mate, it's always the incentive. When you say the oldest one's
15, there's no incentive there, mate. I know. I don't need him playing senior footy at Mount Barker in the next couple of years.
Hey, Nudes, I know it's not all about the individual stuff, but at home, do you have a place that you put, some memorabilia away, or a nice little showcase or anything?
There's no showcase.
Yeah, that wasn't the word I was looking for.
No,
you know what I mean. Yeah,
no, there's no showcase, but I do have there's a box of memorabilia that is stored away, and there's some pretty special things in there, and I do have a couple of photos of milestones, some caricatures that were presented to me, and some photos, and they're up on the wall near the bar, but the individual stuff, they can all stay in the box for the time being.
So what do you class as the milestone moment for you, the highlight so far? Well, you pick 2.
As in anything that's happened over
anything that's happened in footy?
In footy? I 2012 captaining the Premiership side
Yeah.
is by far and away the greatest thing that I ever got to do.
Yep.
350 A grade was pretty good.
Yeah.
Only because I know it was a milestone. I was 39 when it happened, so it probably wasn't something you expect to happen. And the fact that I was still playing at that level then is something that I'm pretty proud of.
Yeah.
No, it's a couple, but the Premiership as a captain is pretty hard to top that.
So you're already the record holder in games at Mount Barker. What's the next?
I'm not sure I'm the record holder of games. I'm definitely the A grade, but I reckon
I've
there's
seen the
guys.
games.
No, I reckon there's guys that have played over 400. So I'm not going
For
to
Mount
claim.
Barker.
Yeah, I'm not going to claim them. I'm not going to claim that record because
We're talking previously about we're saying Dickie Kleeman, he'd be up at about 600 or something.
I don't know if there's anyone at 600 at Mount Barker, but there'd be some guys in the 400. I reckon. We'd have to look back.
Wow.
I reckon you'd have to look back.
But
in
the
the
A grade
archives.
level.
A grade level, I think
Yeah.
I've got that. So,
Yeah.
yeah. What was your question? I've lost.
Who was the record holder at Mount
Oh,
Barker?
right. Who was the so A grade level? It was myself, and then I think David Murphy, and he was 300 or just short of.
So we're looking back at someone like Archie Crompton or something.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
Jug Racing.
Yeah, I think him. Yeah, he could be in the 400. So.
Buck Watson back in the days.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah,
great
right.
names there, mate. So, as you said, great history at Mount Barker Footy Club. It's
Absolutely.
just disappointing that we don't get to see it displayed out the summit, but
Yeah.
We will.
Maybe a time.
that may
Might be the Simon Noonan.
Well, what can we have? The Simon Nunan coaching box.
Yeah.
Oh, look, if we can get coach's box out there,
You'll happily put your name to it.
I'll just go write my name on it. We'll all be pretty excited when they come there.
Yeah, well, as you said,
Thanks, Needs.
just build it as it comes along. So, all right, Simon, thanks very much for
No
coming
worries,
in,
Tom.
mate, and all the
Appreciate
best
it.
for the rest of the season. And we'll see you for game 450 here at the Huddle.
Yeah,
But,
terrific.
thanks for joining us on the Huddle Reform once again. We look forward to your company on Saturday for the Saturday Sports Brief and also next Wednesday. So until then,
And of course, tune in on Saturday
Yes.
for the Courier Cup final on Lofty as well.
and Lofty as
So,
well. So until then, keep chasing your goals. Bye for now. Thanks,
No worries at all.
Amos.
Appreciate you having me. Yeah.
Thanks. Which one of them?
Good setup.
Different things to talk
Thanks for watching.